poem The Trees by Adrian Rich. Now this poetess was basically was a feminist and also a radical. So as she was a feminist, so clearly she has written the poem Trees actually symbolizes something that trees actually is also a symbol for the women. So here what the poet, who was a feminist, is trying to say is that she's compared tree with the life of women. So in a poem we'll see that poetess is only talking about trees. Poet is referring to trees, telling about trees throughout the poem, but she also has shown a metaphor. She has also shown a deeper meaning to the poem, that is from, if you see it from the side of women. So poet is actually comparing tree to women, the life of a tree and how trees they struggle. It is being compared to women. So the poet wants to say that the women have rested, healed and recovered like trees. They have also rested, healed and recovered, and now they are ready for the primary purpose, that is to renew the empty forest of mankind. So poet is not just saying that trees have to go back to the forest in order to make bring back life in the forest, but also the women, they also need to get ready and come out of their homes in order to make a better world for human beings, in a better way to bring a better mankind. So that's why the poet is mean in this poem. So let's read the poem and understand how poet is actually conveying the two meanings. So metaphor means there are two meanings, one is a hidden meaning and one is a dictionary meaning. So if when you'll be reading the poem, you'll realize that poet is actually talking about trees, but trees here also symbolizes women. So we'll be seeing both the views in this poem. So the poetess says that the trees inside are moving out into the forest. So what are in the beginning, where are trees? Trees are being kept in a house. They're being covered there in a four-walled cell. Trees, and now the trees inside are moving out into the forest. Now trees, they have completely healed themselves. They are completely ready to go out and go back to their initial habitat, that was forest. The forest that was empty all these days. So as all the trees were in the house, they were covered in the four walls, so that's why the forests were empty. There were no trees in the forest, as all the trees were kept inside the house, where no bird could sit and no insect hide. We know it very well that forests are also a habitat for animals and birds. So as there were no trees in the forest, so birds, they could not sit, because maximum birds, they sit on trees. As there were no trees, so birds did not have a place to sit. No insect hide. There was not even a single insect who could hide themselves, because there were no trees. No sun bury its feet in shadow. There was not even a sun could not just bury itself into the shadow. So because there were no forest, sun could not even show reflection. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. Now the poet is actually trying to say that the forest was completely empty because there was no trees. There were not trees who used to reside there earlier, who used to be there earlier. They have moved out, and as there were no trees, so now the nights even were all empty. But he says there is no worry, because trees will be coming back and the morning will be full of trees.